So hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Megan Norton, and I am the Nominations Director on the Families and Global Transition Board of Directors. I'm currently doing a series of interviews with our 2021 rotating off directors in order for you to be aware of the open positions this year. So the open positions term commitment is from October 2021 through October 2023. It's a 2-year commitment. And the open call for applications will be from March 22nd through April 13th. And you can find the application on our website at figt.org. I'm delighted to be speaking with LaShell Tinder, who is our FIGT Treasurer Director today. And I have invited her to speak specifically about the role, responsibilities, and what she has found personally and professionally fulfilling about this position, as she has been our Treasurer Director on the Executive Committee for the past 2 years. So welcome, LaShell.
Nice to be with you, and thanks for inviting me.
LaShell, to begin, can you tell us a little bit about the Treasurer Director position? What are some of the key responsibilities?
Two primary ones. So sitting as part of the XCOM and being a part of the strategic leadership and really helping to facilitate and support 3 of the groups, the board directors that really have an impact on budget. So I'm responsible in working with scholarship, sponsorship, and membership. And then obviously the kind of budget things. So overseeing the budget development and making sure that we're staying on task throughout the year, and how is that going? And those are the 2 really primary things. And then working with the admin and the accounting team, but it all relates around the budget. And then the compliance, there's a piece of the compliance in terms of making sure our tax reports are done, but all of that is done by the accounting team. So I just take care of reviewing and doing signatures and making sure that the filings with the state are done.
It's a very important role and part of our organization.
I'm trying to make it sound simple so that there's lots of applications.
Yes.
It is pretty simple.
Okay. For an accountant mind. Yes, for sure.
I'm not an accountant, and I would never want to be in that space. And that's the important, I think, thing to know, is that it's really, you'll get down to maybe thinking about some of the key aspects, and I can talk through what are we looking for in a person who's going to apply to it, because it's not about an accounting mind, really. And I think the reason I led off that being part of the XCOM, my role is more critical in the XCOM than in the treasurer piece. So I think that that's a critical distinction here, is making sure that the role is got a good and participative role in that XCOM role.
Yes, excellent. Thanks for that clarification.
Sure.
And I know that you are looking to onboard a committee in the remainder of your term. I'm curious about what are the skill sets you're looking for in a committee member?
So yeah, definitely. So this is something that we haven't formally had a finance committee. With COVID going on and all kinds of things, our lives have gotten busier, and some of the transition, it made sense to see if I could get somebody onboarded to help with some of the administrative things, and hopefully then have, if that person's interested in applying to the board and they are residing in the US, because banking and managing things does require a US residing individual, not a citizen or anything, but just residing in the US. Hopefully they would be interested in then submitting their name for being a potential applicant for the treasurer role. So it's really managing all the key functions and helping me with the administrative side of managing the budget, working with the accounting team, with any kind of registrations, any kind of follow-up that's needed for our compliance, like insurance, state registrations, anything like that. And just teaching them the ropes of the treasurer's piece of the building the budget and what's involved in that.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. How many people are you looking for the committee?
Just one at present, because I don't think that there's really a need to have any more than one. So it's really largely that sort of, hopefully a talent pipeline is what it would work into, is building up that somebody comes into the finance committee with an interest in the treasury role, is residing in the US and then could hopefully submit their name in the future for the treasurer role. Because I think that it's probably a struggle for you guys to find somebody for that role. And so it's also helping. I come from an HR background. So it's looking to say, how do I support the nominations committee in building that talent pipeline for our organization and that volunteer board?
Yes, thank you, LaShell. I'm curious, in the past 2 years of your board term, what have been some of the projects you've worked on? What are some top celebrations you'd like to mention from 2018 through 2020?
Oh goodness, there's been a lot happening. We've gone from not having a conference to starting the virtual, and what has that meant? So when you think about from a financial perspective, solvency in the organization is critical, and the number one fundraising event that we have is a conference. So it's really changing the way in which we think about our fundraising and how we're doing that. So supporting the first ever membership drive, helping to set some critical targets around that, supporting our membership director and working collaboratively with other XCOM members that really stepped in to help with that a lot. Looking at how do we structure our budget around a virtual conference, thinking about people's roles, again, with an HR background. So I worked with our one paid employee to think about her keep, stop, start, and how do you divide that work out? Because we needed to, as we continue to change the organization, we never changed her job description. So what she was needing to do needed to be looked at, and farming that out to some other people within the volunteer team. So some work on that. And again, that's why the XCOM is the primary work that I think that I've done, is that, you know, it's looking at our compliance. How are we managing our state reporting? So I've gotten that off the ground and working clearly on that. We're looking at banking solutions that are a little bit more sustainable, thinking about a sustainable budget and what does that look like in virtual conferences for 1, 2, who knows how many years we'll be doing that, depending on COVID and vaccines and everything else. And then what is the state of the world, and how are we changing as an organization? And so that's been part of it too. So a lot of cool things. I mean, it's been a fun tenure, and getting to know a lot of people and building on skills and learning new things. And I really enjoyed it.
Yes, thank you, LaShell. It's been such a pleasure to serve alongside you. I know that your tremendous talent and skill set has really elevated how we approach the finances of FIGT in this season. And I'm curious, what are some ongoing projects, or you've spoken a little bit into what will continue for this position, but what's an area of growth or expansion or vision you have for the 2021 through 2023 term?
Well, I think if you think about our virtual environment right now, is what does it mean for solvency? What are going to be some of the critical challenges that sponsorship and membership are going to face? How is scholarship going to be impacted by this? So being able to lead those individuals on the board and helping to support them as part of the XCOM role is going to be critical for that treasurer role. So being strategically minded, being innovative, thinking about how do I support the next vision of the organization. I think that whenever we look at 2023 and where conferences might be held by then, because this board member coming in will be part of building that conference out. You know, what are the options that we might have if we can be live again? And again, thinking, how do we build that best location where we might build some reserves? Hosting in Thailand was a great option for us because we were able to build some reserves. It's not always easy for people to get to. So how do we balance that availability and the accessibility of our community, but also looking to see we need to maintain our solvency? So this is something that the role on the XCOM and treasurer is going to be very critical to helping to think about locations and what does that mean for the organization, and supporting in a strategic mindset. And then I think I'm always thinking about FIGT and what's next. We have done so much in the way of content this year. I mean, our comms team, if you put them in any company across the world, they would be best in class. and what the work has been done on that. And you think about our reach, that we continue to keep growing and developing and reaching out to more people. So when we're doing that, we need to step back and think, how do we keep doing this? How do we not dilute our ability to reach that community? How do we keep doing that in a way that we expand our community, but we don't outgrow ourselves in some way? So I think that that's going to be important as part of the XCOM.
Yes, thank you for speaking into that vision and that strategy a little bit. I'm curious, along with those tangible skill sets, what are some of the key competencies that you would say that the next treasurer director should embody?
Well, I'm a global mobility manager at H&M, and one of our values is keep it simple. So I think anybody coming in here needs to embrace that. Be straightforward, keep it simple, be open-minded, be an agile thinker, have a strategic mindset, be able to lead others, and obviously be able to manage a budget. I think that one of the things that, and I didn't mention this in the things that I've done, but I think normalizing the budget and making it, taking it away from accounting speak or treasurer speak to just an everyday person's kind of speak, to where all of you guys got a sense of, okay, oh, well, that's what our budget does and how it works. That's important, is just being able to bring everything down to a layman's language. So I think that just keeping it simple is a really critical skill set, and agile thinking is super, super important.
I couldn't agree more, LaShell. I am not one with a specialized budget mindset. So thank you for translating all of the numbers into digestible ways. You definitely kept it simple. So I definitely appreciate all your commitment and the exploration and expansion you've done in this role. Is there anything else you would like to add or say?
It has truly been a pleasure. I joined the board just largely because I wanted to give back. And when they asked my reason why, I remember at my first conference, and when I came home with the Third Culture Kids book to my kids, and my kids read it, and they had had a really hard time with repatriation. And they said, Mom, this is our Bible. So each one of us that step into this role, we do it for a different reason, but it's all about the same thing. We want to give back. So thank you to the FIGT board members, to everybody. It's been truly a pleasure to work with everybody and to have this opportunity to make a difference and to contribute.
Thank you, LaShell. Yes, we are so blessed to have had you on the board, and do keep in mind if you would like in a future year to come back, because it's been such a pleasure. So thank you for our listeners and for watching this short clip about the treasurer position. As a reminder, the call for applications for all board positions this year begin March 22nd and go through April 13th. You can find the application online at FIGT.org, and feel free to reach out to me about the nominations process at nominations@FIGT.org. Thank you so much for your time.